Welcome to That Digital Take. I'm your host, Torri Webster. This episode of That Digital Take is brought to you by Chatter's Hair Salon, proudly Canadian and your go-to destination for all things hair for over 30 years. Whether you're refreshing your color, trying a bold new style, or stocking up on your favorite products, Chatter's has you covered. And right now, they are treating my listeners to an exclusive offer. Get 20% off your retail purchase online with code DIGITAL20 at checkout. Some exclusions apply. Don't miss out. Visit chatters.ca and give your hair the care it deserves. Hello, fabulous people. Welcome back to the pod. It's almost like I feel like I need to sing for you today, post-Coachella vibes. Coming in hot. Welcome back to That Digital Take. Thank you for being here with us. Also, I know I threw this out in the last episode, but to date, Aaron Layden's podcast is the most listened to pod. You guys love wedding content, so I think I need to do like a wedding-themed episode coming up soon. I've been a bridesmaid many times. I got a lot of insight into that world. Not that I've been a bride yet, but I've got a lot of friends that have been married. So I think I'll do another deep dive into like content creation around weddings and things like that, because that seemed to really resonate. So definitely want to lean into the stuff that you guys love listening to. And yeah, I love that Erin was such a star. She was so fabulous. So today's episode is really going to be about festival. Last year, when we kicked off the pod, we did a Coachella themed episode. I feel like it's only right to really nail it down and do another one this year. Some things have changed, some things have remained the same, but I've always been a very festival heavy creator in the sense that I've done a lot of coverage at festivals, Oceaga, Coachella, all of that good stuff. So we're really going to make this episode festival themed today, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So a little recap of where I've been. Obviously just landed back from Palm Springs last night, and what a whirlwind. I mean, it always is. It really is the Influencer Olympics. It's a wild weekend. It's desert hot. This year was unseasonably warm. I've had freezing cold Coachellas where I've been draped in blankets and merch and sweaters. And then this took the cake as the warmest Coachella out of my 10 years. So that was crazy. It was like 38 degrees every single day. And we just couldn't stay hydrated enough. I was like chugging all of those elements. I don't know if you guys know that brand. Kind of like I love Liquid IV too, but Liquid IV, Element, all that good stuff. Keeping the electrolytes up. Really hard to party when you're doing that though. It's like you want to be hydrated because you're actually thirsty, but then you're also trying to like drink and have fun. So really funny kind of finding that balance. But all in all, very successful weekend. So I'll start at the beginning. We flew in from Palm Springs, from Toronto to Palm Springs, which was very iconic. Again, some things that after this 10 years of experience, I've finally learned, which is that the LA traffic, like if you fly into LAX and then you have to commute from LA to Palm Springs, that drive is hellish on Coachella weekend. We're talking 6 hours for a drive that should take an hour and a half to 2 hours. So really grateful that I got to avoid that this year. I just had a direct flight from Toronto to Palm Springs. We landed super early on the Thursday, so we had time to settle in, enjoy the warm weather, hang by the pool, get the Aperol spritzes flowing. It was just fantastic. So that really kicked off the weekend nicely. And then we headed into day one. And the thing about this year that I really loved was that I felt like I took my own pace. I didn't commit to too many events or too many parties, where in years past I've been maybe pushed in a few too many directions, like bitten off too much, hoping to go to too many parties. And that's the thing about Coachella. You really can party hop your way through the whole weekend. But to a certain extent, you can almost ruin your own experience by doing that, because you get pulled in so many directions. You end up with like so many different content deliverables because you're like committing to brands that you're going to be at their parties and you're going to offer coverage of their events. So this year, we just didn't even do that. We just said, you know what? Let's truly enjoy the festival for what it is. Let's enjoy the get ready with me process. Let's pre-party and let's enjoy the music. And speaking of the music really brought me back to my why of Coachella this year. There's years where I've clearly maybe been lost in the sauce of the influencer world a little too deeply. And this year I just had such a nice balance. I really enjoyed each artist. I loved Gaga. I mean, what a performer, truly. I mean, I'm not trying to make this a gendered conversation once more, but I did feel Post Malone kind of dropped the ball as a headliner. And again, just a very interesting comparison when you look at someone like Gaga, like a female in the space who's just putting everything behind her work, the production, the just commitment to the craft, her live singing, like just everything about it. The costuming was 12 out of 10. And I just felt like Post Malone kind of phoned it in a little bit. And again, not to make it gendered, but I just was like, our girls out here are working very, very hard. And I felt like he kind of did the bare minimum. And anyways, it was what it was. He was kind of my least favorite. She was one of my favorite, which was unreal. DJ life was fantastic this weekend. Who did I love? I loved Tiësto so much. Again, just those throwback bangers. They hit so well. And he was performing at sunset. It was kind of funny because I went to Tiësto like right at the beginning. And I was kind of like in the peak, like fun. And I was like, why is this such a slow build? Like, I kind of assumed Tiësto would come in hot with some of his bangers. And then this guy leans over to me and he's like, you do know this is a 3-hour set, right? And I was like, oh my God, no wonder it's such a slow build. Like he had a lot to build up to. So I actually only caught the first hour of Tiësto. Really, if I'd been more strategic, I didn't know the set was 3 hours. They didn't put like, he was one of the people closing that stage, so they don't put an end time. So I just had no clue. But I kind of wish I went to the last 30 minutes. That would have probably been what the music that I was after. But anyways, I still love Tiësto. It was great. Chase and Status, amazing. I don't know if it's Chase and Status, like chasing status, or Chase and Status, like as if it was a name. Anyways, they were great, kind of like deep house, wild vibes. Like people were really, this is the thing, like Coachella is so choose your own adventure. Every stage offers such a different dynamic or feeling. And it was funny, I had created a video being like, if your personality was a Coachella stage, which would it be? Because I think it says a lot about you. Like the Sahara stage is like that deep house, like really like wild dancing, or like you go to the Do Lab and people are kind of more like relaxed and chilled and laid back. And then like the main stage is like where all the VIPs are and where the artist section is. So I don't know, it's just kind of funny to think about it that way. Like if your personality was a stage, I was like, obviously I'm the Coachella stage, the main stage, baby. But that's nor here nor there. Green Day, I had an awakening. I saw Green Day at Coachella last year, and I thought they were good. Like, no bad things to say, really. But I don't know if I was just on the right level or what was happening. But Green Day just really hit for me at Coachella. They were playing all of their old bangers in succession, which I love. It's like, don't hold back. You know this is why we're here. So I really enjoyed that. They gave us something to sing along to. Now, as you guys may have seen on IG, I was at Coachella this year with Heineken, and this led to some really cool kind of VIP experiences. And again, I think being an influencer on the side of Coachella, I know that everyone's like, oh, it's the influencer Olympics and whatever, and I know I make that joke as well, but I think what is so cool about it and the really positive thing about it is you really get a different experience. So Heineken has been I guess, I think they literally said from the very beginning. So from the 90s onward, Heineken has been a headline sponsor of Coachella. Obviously in different ways. They said obviously when they started, it was just a small little pop-up and they were selling cans of beer. And now they are genuinely this like massive headlining sponsor. They have their own Heineken house on the grounds, which is so cool. And an area that I was kind of working to promote with them, which is like where if you have a VIP wristband, you can go into the Heineken house and they actually have their own VIP performances and people pop up and they DJ and you can get Heineken in the Heineken house, obviously, and you can enjoy the music and you're kind of in this your own little VIP area. Plus, it was very shaded. You know, if you've been to Coachella, there's not a lot of areas that have amazing shade. So that was just a reprieve because you could go dance, hang out, drink a beer, and lay low and enjoy the music. Pusha T performed there in the Heineken House. It was great. So what was really cool about the Heineken House is they offered actually the influencers that were there on behalf of the brand access to go to this VIP breakfast. So this actually meant getting driven in through the artist section and arriving at Coachella. I think we were there at like 11 a.m. on Saturday, so actually before the festival grounds even opened to the public. Now, this also inspired what I think should be a video series of mine, which is places I've gotten access to before they've opened. And I just think that that's such an interesting experience. Like to be on the Coachella grounds, normally the festival has what, 75,000 to 100,000 people a day walking the festival. It is busy. And so to be on the grounds completely empty, like looking at the stages, just the grass, like it was kind of epic. And it reminded me also of the time where I was with Disney. and we got to go into Disneyland before it opened. So just seeing these places that are conventionally covered with people and are extremely busy, it's hard to shoot content because there's people everywhere. So to have this really calm moment of reprieve in these very iconic places meant the world to me. So thank you, Heineken, for that experience, because genuinely can add to my bucket list. And the breakfast was really cool. We actually got to sit with the global team of influencers, and it was influencers from all over the world. There were influencers that flew in with Heineken from India, from Mexico. Obviously, the US was there, Canada, all over. And so that was really awesome. There's probably 40 of us that got to sit at breakfast together and really get to know each other, chat about the music we were enjoying over the weekend, and just enjoy this very cool experience that money can't buy. And I guess those are the experiences that stay with you, especially in the influencer world, because they don't happen often, but when they do, they're very memorable. And yeah, I just had to shout that out because I thought that was sick. Okay. In terms of content, I've talked about this before. There's such a creator burnout when it comes to festival content. One, I obviously discussed the heat. It was just maddening hot this weekend. But all that to say, I actually thought this was some of the best content I've made in a while. I don't know, again, if it was because I did not take on too much. I committed to just one brand partner. I said, Heineken, I'm here for you. I'm shooting content for you. And that exclusivity allowed me not only time to prioritize content, but it also allowed me time to be creative. And we've talked about that, right? Like when you've taken on too much, or if you stretch yourself too thin, or you commit to too many parties, obviously you're not going to be able to shoot the best content. So I think because I put zero pressure on myself this year and I just went to enjoy the festival and shoot for Heineken, I felt a creative spark, if you will. And it was more fun to create content because I would have these moments of like, oh, this would be like a funny take, right? So I just thought that was interesting. Like the less I took on, the better my content was. So I think just something for me to remember in my back pocket and for other creators to consider when taking on partnerships at a festival. I found basically the less I stressed, the more I actually created. So take that for what you will. Anyways, back to sort of the balanced work of it all. I feel like it is hard to kind of play like a pro when it comes to like fulfilling the brand obligations, and then also leaving space at a festival for spontaneous fun. And this year, again, I do feel like I did a much better job of this. There's years past where I felt like I had no spontaneous fun and I was basically just shooting content right, left, and center and like sweating my life away and like feeling a little bit miserable. And it's funny, like I did run into some creator friends throughout the weekend, and that kind of was the experience. Like there was like some tears and people were upset because they had taken on too much, and it does make it impossible to have fun. And ultimately at the end of the day, like that's what it's all for, right? Like we're there for the music, we're there to vibe out and enjoy. And so I think being able to find that balance, I'm not saying it's easy, but when you can find it, then you really can sit back and be like, this is what it's all for. And I do think part of that is feeling like you do not need to be at everything or be seen at everything. And back to sort of this idea popularized by the media, which is that influencers just are out at Coachella to take their photos and do their content, which part of that sure is true. I think we need to revert back to a lot of the creators also are just here to enjoy the music and obviously elevate the brands that they're with. But I think that there's a way to do that in a healthy manner that's not going to like ruin your life, and you're not party hopping to every single thing and drinking at every single thing and just feeling like you're completely run down by the very end of it. So I guess some takeaways, obviously, one, protect your energy. You have to be intentional. And I also think at the end of the day, if you do that, your content is going to hit different. And I found that obviously in the analytics of the weekend and things that hit on YouTube Shorts or whatever it might be, it just felt good to be creating content for content's sake. Now, I did say this whole episode is going to be kind of festival themed, so I am going to kind of jump into some bigger topics that I think we can cover and some things that I would have loved to know 10 years ago when I started doing this festival life, and some things excuse me, that we can keep in mind as we also head into the larger festival season. Obviously, Coachella kind of kicks it all off, but we're going to have Osheaga this year. We're going to have Boots and Hearts, all the good stuff. So let's jump into it. Festival and creator life. So number one, the true behind the scenes of festivals and sponsorships. I'm sure that you guys are also curious what actually goes into this. What does it mean to land a brand deal for Coachella weekend? Now, for me personally, this was a very exciting experience because typically at Coachella, I actually tend to work with American brands just because obviously it is an American festival and the presence there is more widely popularized. That being said, obviously Coachella is known globally. People travel from all over the world. Oh my God, such an aside, but there was this really, really nice group of people that came up to me from Australia, and they were like, "Oh my God, we love watching your show growing up," like, da da da, whatever. They were so cute. And they were like, "Yeah, they still show your show in Australia." And I was like, "Oh my God, like, where's my residual checks?" Like, that's a separate conversation. But besides that, I was just like, "Oh my God, very cool that people from Australia, one, are here, and then two, are recognizing me and are just so cute." So having any of those fan run-ins on site at Coachella just meant the world to me. And like, it is weird how many people you end up running into. Like, that is a shocking thing for how large the festival grounds are. But yeah, sorry. But yeah, shout out to my Australia loves because you guys were so cute and that was an amazing run in. Okay, so back to what actually goes into brand deals for Coachella weekend. So, like I said, typically work with US brands. This time around, I had the great pleasure of working with a Canadian brand. Obviously, Heineken has many arms: Heineken Global, Heineken US, Heineken Canada. I was there on behalf of the Heineken Canada team. What's really cool about that is, one, like I mentioned, they're a headline sponsor, so you kind of get that VIP experience. And two, we were able to build our brand relationship before actually going to Coachella. And so I think that's what I'm losing my voice because because of Green Day. Like, I'm not even going to cut this out because literally Green Day stole my voice. Okay. So the brand deal of it all, obviously I got to build my relationship with the brand before actually heading to Coachella. And I think that's how you actually get it, right? So the pitch is, hey, I've already done some very successful work with you guys. I know you guys are a headline sponsor. Is there a world where we can work together over this weekend to create, epic coverage for the Canadian audience? And obviously that landed really well with Heineken. So I think that can be definitely a way in for creators. And then obviously, like any deal, you're just negotiating back and forth, whether that's for flights or, wristbands. And then at the end, you share your analytics and you report back how everything went, like a typical campaign. So I think what's really cool about campaigns like this is obviously they're very timely. So you're creating content that's going to resonate with people. You're also leaning into like trends and kind of hashtags that are doing well in that space at that time, because obviously Coachella on TikTok is kind of trending. And yeah, it's just a great opportunity for brands to leverage influencers in that way. So let's look at like a transparent breakdown of deliverables and usage and all of that and what you kind of should be looking for. So I think like wrap up videos are really important. Like my deal with Heineken very much was like, hey, this is going to show like the behind the scenes of my experience at Coachella, really highlight their new offering, which was Heineken Silver, because that's their newest beer. And then third to that was highlighting Heineken as also this elevated experience, like beyond the beer. It's like, we're talking about Heineken House, we're talking about this VIP brunch, we're talking about Coachella, which in itself is sort of exclusive. So I think that's kind of what makes it very successful for brands. And what no one tells you about posting from a brand trip, this is another thing I think that's worth chatting about. There is so much pressure to sort of get the shots, right? And so much pressure to like start your day and look good and feel good, but then also capture all the content and turn it around really quickly and get those timely moments while they're all trending. And it's also all while trying to not ruin the moment for yourself completely. So I think that this is, again, hard, but goes back to my original statement, which is, if you can find the balance, that is the goal of the weekend. And it's also balancing group dynamics, right? There was a couple influencers that were out with us for the weekend. Some people are more, want to go to the festival really early and want to spend the whole day there, and others want to go when the sun goes down because it's too hot. So I think it's just like, again, really balancing those fun and balancing those deliverables at the same time. Again, not always easy, but I think with practice, and obviously I've had 10 years to do this, it was funny. I've watched a lot of creators' videos this weekend where it was their first Coachella, and it is like overwhelming, right? Like they're like, oh my God, this really is as crazy as people make it out to be. Like, how do you work and shoot and get all of this, but still have fun and stay like hydrated and, also chug a beer and whatever it might be. Like it's just hard to balance it all. And that really is the truth. Now there is this issue sometimes with festivals where it's tying your own boundaries to the fun. And obviously, like personality types on brand trips play a role into that. And I think for me, like I'm such an extroverted person, I fit into these brand trips quite easily. Like I'm always a warrior for fun. So that leads me into topic 2. What is the myth of being off the clock at festivals? So even if you were going to, let's say I'm an influencer, but I'm still going to a festival, and even if it's a brand-free weekend, like I'm not collabing with everyone, you're still never really off as a creator. And this really can be difficult, especially when it plays into festival content, because we all know it's trending, we all want to talk about it. And there's this weird tension between wanting to rest and then also wanting to capture content. And I deal with this all of the time, sorry. And so with my mental health, like I do feel like there are times where I just have to fully go offline and not capture it. Unfortunately, festivals is not one of those opportunities. The content is just too good. It's like the outfits, the get ready with me's, the behind the scenes. Like I can never rest during festival season. That's my personal take on it. Doesn't mean that's going to be the same for every influencer, but just being honest about my experience. So number 3, why festivals are the ultimate creator networking event. Guys, everyone is there. Every single person is there. And nobody talks about how valuable that can actually be when it comes to creating connections. I saw Paris Hilton. I saw James Charles. I saw literally every celebrity you can imagine. And I think there's like this like non-cringy guide to networking, right? It's like for example, the brand brunch with Heineken, the creator, the parties, the VIP section where you're linking up with all of these other creators. I feel like you can connect with people and also follow up with them intentionally without being weird or wacky or coming across like a fan. And I think that's a really important art to learn. I think when you meet people that you look up to or people you admire and you want to introduce yourself, you kind of need to learn the art of that. And Coachella is such a great experience of that, or sorry, a great like a great way to explore that, because there are celebrities everywhere and you really can, if you do it properly, make really cool connections. And so I think, yeah, learning the art of like when you see someone at the bar, like I'm introduced to a couple influencers, like, oh my God, I love your work. I love your TikTok. And obviously coming across really genuine, but also being like, yeah, I'm also a creator and this is what I do. And I'd love to connect and whatever. I think just not having any ego about it and really showing up and being excited to meet these people goes such a long way. And then, yeah, the art of the follow-up, following people back and DMing them after and just saying, oh my God, so nice to meet you, loved that connect, or loved singing to Green Day with you, or whatever it might be. I think those moments are so valuable and you never know where that might lead. Like, we ran into some brand reps and we became friendly with them and we followed them. And I think that's so important. You just never know where those relationships will lead you. And yes, you're meeting in a really fun, organic way because you're at the festival, but that might lead to something really cool and professional down the line. And I think that's a really cool thing to keep in mind when you're in that sort of experience, like the festival experience. Okay, number 4, influencer baggage. What's really in my festival bag? I did a little video on this like for TikTok, and it's really funny because the product roundup for influencers and creators and what they really carry around at festivals is so funny. Obviously, number 1, portable chargers, okay? Your phone dies so fast in the heat. You're shooting right, left, and center. It's insane how quickly the battery dies. Backup SD cards. I was shooting all my photos on my G7X camera, so I obviously had my Canon with me all weekend. Then I had my backup SD cards. Then I actually had the dongles so I could get those photos onto my phone quick enough to actually get them onto Instagram. Like, guys, these are the first world problems. The bag that I'm carrying around at Coachella is not light. Press credentials, so anything like artist passes or anything that you need behind the scenes to actually get you from here to there. All of your wristbands, all of that good stuff. Emergency makeup. The sweat, like I said, the sweat-proof makeup. I had so much powder. I had so many little sponges to like blot, get the sweat off my face. NDAs, if you're working with a brand where you need to sign something to get backstage or sign something if you're on the grounds ahead of time. All these good things you might have to carry around and show on the day. So yeah, I just thought that was a little fun like thing to include. All the things that are actually in my bag. Oh, like Cliff Bars, Huggies. I had Huggy wipes because the porta potties always run out of toilet paper. The list goes on. The list really does go on. Okay, number 5, how to create festival content that doesn't feel cringe or overdone. This can be really hard. So many creators obviously fall into the trap of trends that don't necessarily land, either because they're already too saturated or just because like someone has done it too many times and that's it. It's just a saturated trend. You got to come up with something unique. And so I feel like my POV and leaning into the storytelling with this week was all about kind of putting myself in the shoes of the customer. Like less about me as an influencer and more about me as a customer experiencing Coachella, because I feel like that's how people find their way to relate to you and find their way in. Because let's be honest, not everyone has an artist pass and is backstage. They want to see the true behind the scenes. That's why people love the camping videos, or, how long did it take you to get into the festival grounds, or how long was the line at the porta potty, like bathroom. Like I feel like those are the things that the festival goers actually want to see, because it's the everyday experience, right? They don't get to have the influencer experience, so they don't really always care about that. So I think that was a cool reframe for me to keep in mind. And yeah, definitely something that I think influenced my content over the past weekend. All right, number 6, the hidden cost of going to Coachella as a creator. This is so real. In past years, it can be so expensive to do this on your own dime as an influencer. Obviously, I had the good fortune of working with brands over the last couple of years, especially this year, like everything was covered by Heineken. But in years past, it's like you are paying for very expensive outfits. You are paying for car services, which I'm not joking, can rack up to thousands and thousands of dollars. I think there was a year where we paid a car service because they basically have to drive you around to every single party and wait for you, and your nights don't end until 3 a.m. They're with you all day long. I think it was like 5K USD for the whole weekend. No joke. Just have a private driver to like bring us around to everything. So yeah, the prices can really rack up. Amenities, obviously you have your housing or your hotel, which can be so expensive and elevated during the Coachella rush of it all. Wristbands, very expensive. Artist passes famously, like they can range. I think an artist pass honestly is really hard to get. 10K maybe if you were just buying it off marketplace. VIP obviously runs a lot more reasonably. I think they're only like $1,000 or $1,500. I actually would have to triple check that, but artist bands are a bit more like industry passes, harder to get, more exclusive. You kind of have to know someone. If you were buying it off market, yeah, I've been told rates like 8K or 10K, which is like literally insane, unaffordable, genuinely. So anyways, yeah, I just think keeping that in mind, like if you are an influencer, I relate to you. I get that. If you do want to do things, but you know that it's really expensive, I think a way in can obviously by supplementing brand deals while you're on site so that either one, it's covering your experience, or two, optimizing your experience and getting you better behind the scenes access or whatever it might be. Okay. So long winded today. So much Coachella, so much festival. I hope you guys did like kind of that recap and the behind the scenes. This is going to be dropping like the Monday after Coachella. So it's still timely and fun for you guys to hear all of the BTS. And thanks for engaging in all the content I've put out so far. Still have some more content, festival content coming to you. But yeah, that's Coachella 2025 in the books. I actually can't believe it. I look forward to this weekend every year. It's already done. Now I need something else to look forward to. Okay, love you guys, mean it. See you in the next episode. Bye.